Assalamu alaikum, Saad. How are you?
Walaikum salam, Faizan. I'm good.
How's Karachi nowadays?
Okay, so I told people before as well, but Karachi has only two temperatures, right? Like two weathers. So
Uh-huh.
it's hot and hotter. And right now we are heading towards the hotter wala season. So from that point of view, it's getting a little stuffy and humid. In fact, I got my AC fixed today.
Oh, you
So
did. So you're all set.
I'm all set for now, yeah.
I've never been to Karachi, but I always heard that it's relatively better because of the sea, the breeze. It.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So in summer, although temperatures can go up to like mid 40s in centigrade, but yeah, so the one saving grace we have is the sea breeze. And luckily, I live near the sea, so I always have some wind in the house. That's a positive.
So Saad, it's always a pleasure talking to you because you know how our cohort terms you are the encyclopedia. You have so much knowledge on almost everything we can come up with.
Okay.
So before we jump into some of the things I want to ask you, can you tell a little about what have you been up to since your return?
All right. So after I completed my master's in energy systems in the US, I came back and spent a few months job hunting in Pakistan. And then I decided to rejoin my old company, K Electric, which is a power utility company in Karachi. And a little bit about what I do in K Electric. So, so KE has recently started this modernization of their grid, where they're putting smart meters, automatic meter reading systems, and basically trying to improve their overall recovery through technology. So that's in a very exciting field, and the whole umbrella comes under smart grid. So I joined the smart grid department because I was an engineer, and we decided to bring in this Oracle software called MDM, which will help Karachi and K Electric get better at recovering their bills and detecting faults better. And it's like sort of like a win-win for the customer and for the company as well. So that's what we've been working on. And currently, I work in a team called Change Management, which is a very interesting concept because it helps large companies and also small companies tackle digital transformations. So that's a very interesting field, and that's something I'm working on. And
That's
then other than
amazing.
that, yeah. So other than my work, which is obviously one aspect of life, I believe in like a work-life balance. So I also got married 1 year ago in January 2019.
Yes, I
Uh,
need to congratulate you personally because I did it on Facebook, but that's not the real congratulations. So
Thank
all
you
the
so much,
best,
Faizan.
Saad, and I hope your life is all flowers.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, it's been a very interesting journey, a very exciting journey, and since I got married relatively late, I don't know if you can call it that, but I was in my early 30s. So when you get married at this age now, you have to really learn to adjust with living with someone new in your life. So
Oh
that
yeah.
was itself a really interesting journey. And luckily, we have a lot of things in common. She likes books. We like traveling, and I'll discuss traveling in this little talk we have today. But yeah, it's been quite a amazing journey. I'm very fortunate. Yeah.
So happy for you, Saad. Okay, coming to the first thing I want to ask you. So
Mhm.
the COVID has made everything look so gloomy. You find negativity all around you, and
Mhm.
I was just wondering, what are some of the positivities? I wouldn't call them positivities, I would call them opportunities, because wherever there's a problem, there's an opportunity. What do you
Right.
think are some of the amazing opportunities that we are still underrating that have emerged due to this COVID situation?
Mm. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the technical aspects first,
Mhm.
because that's what I'm more familiar with. So one of the very obvious and very positive things that I've seen in my city is the environmental impact. Because of lockdown, which has
Mhm.
been obviously something forced upon us by nature, by the virus, we have seen very blue skies in the daytime, very clear visibility. I can see almost across Karachi nowadays from my rooftop, whereas previously I could only see maybe 2 kilometers or 3 kilometers away. So the visibility has gone up a lot. You can see the stars at night very clearly, something you couldn't see before. And obviously, when you go out for cycling, running, walking, there's a lot less traffic. So, from the environmental point of view, as somebody living in a city, you can see a huge improvement. And I suspect that within a year or two, we'll be completely back to normal. It'll be back to the same old polluted Karachi. But I hope that the people who are seeing this part of this, seeing this aspect of Karachi and maybe other cities and other countries too, they're going to fight for this, and they're going to fight for cleaner air and cleaner water, maybe some months down the road. I personally doubt it will happen, but I wish that people do that. So that's one aspect, the eco or the environmentally uh, friendly aspect of COVID. The other opportunity which I want to talk about is the digital and online transformation that we're seeing. So a little bit about Pakistan. As you know, Pakistan has a very high density of mobile penetration. So almost every adult Pakistani, I would say maybe 80% of them, they have mobile phones, right? And Pakistan also has a very young population. About 50% or so, I think, are under 30 years old, roughly thereabouts. Which means that the young part of the youth of Pakistan is adopting mobile technology, Facebook, social media, and the internet, and they're growing up with it. So companies like Daraz, which is one of Pakistan's biggest e-commerce retailers, companies like Amazon, which doesn't operate in Pakistan, but there is definitely an aspect of Pakistanis working in Amazon, and there are a lot of other companies like that which are doing e-commerce in Pakistan, right? I can name some more, uh, but the fact is that until recently, almost nobody did their shopping online for their daily necessities, right? You or me, when we are living in here in Pakistan, we would prefer to go and buy our fruits and vegetables from the grocers,
Yep.
or we would go and get dawn bread and eggs and stuff like that from our superstore nearby. So what's changed is that under lockdown, people have realized that they need to get a lot of things delivered to their house without leaving and without going and mingling with other people, right? And here's how it usually used to happen. So people used to go to the RAS and they would order whatever they want, and they would select this option of cash on delivery, right? And what happens is that the rider comes with the package after a few days. He delivers it to your doorstep, and you pay him in cash. Now, what the government and what a lot of the companies also have been encouraging people to do is switch from the cash payments to a cashless environment. You can pay through these e-wallets like Easy Pesa. You can pay through Visa and MasterCard online, so credit cards, debit cards. Unfortunately, we don't have PayPal in Pakistan, but we have a lot of other locally or homegrown products which people are going to adopt. So what this means is that if you are a shopkeeper whose shop is closed for months, right? Now you have to definitely make yourself a website, and you have to bring traffic to that website by telling people about your website. And then, for example, if your company is called Faizan.com, you have to bring people to Faizan.com and show them what you are, what you are offering them. Maybe it's laptops, maybe it's keyboards or mice, or maybe it's just fruits and vegetables. But in either case, there's a whole ecosystem behind this. You have to hire somebody to make the website for you. You have to hire someone to take photos of your products for you, write the product descriptions, design the whole website, maybe make a social media presence for you, make a Facebook page. So what I'm saying is these are opportunities that maybe even 6 months ago would not exist. So if Pakistan has a population of around 200 million people, right? And I don't know how many of them are now unemployed, but my guess is that there must be at least a few millions of Pakistanis who are now unemployed. And those people are probably desperately looking for jobs. So one opportunity for them is to gain these digital skills, like I did earlier this year, and offer these services to their business partners, colleagues, random people who are businessmen. Because right now everyone is desperate. The businessmen know that there's not going to be a normal for the foreseeable future. So if you're talking about, let's say, the next 6 months until the end of 2020, people will not be comfortable going to malls. People will not be comfortable going to restaurants. I mean, I don't know about Pakistan. Maybe some of them will be comfortable, but the majority of people are going to be a little scared. And what that means is more and more people will want to buy stuff that they love using online. Those who have the disposable cash for that. So yeah, I have spent the last 3 years since I came back from the US working as a freelancer in different fields. So I have worked on content writing, which basically means you write blogs and you write articles for websites. I have worked on uh, drop shipping, which is a very interesting business model where you basically market somebody's product for them, and then once somebody places an order on your website, you don't ship the order yourself. You just forward the order to the factory, and the factory will deliver that product to the customer directly. You are basically the middleman. So it's a very low risk and very low capital sort of business model. So I've been helping clients find the right products for their Shopify stores, which by the Shopify, by the way, is a kind of online website store that you can make. Um, so what I wanted to basically talk about is that for the majority of people who are currently unemployed or who are basically looking for extra income, the best bet for them would be to learn about digital marketing, social media, website design, and there's thousands of other very, very easy and non-technical jobs that you can do. So for example, YouTube videos. Do you have a YouTube channel yourself, Faizan?
I do, yes.
Yes. I think if I recall correctly, in the start of your video, you have an intro, which has like a little fancy music, and
Yep,
you're
yep.
walking around having breakfast or something, right?
Yep, I have to thank my wife.
All right. So a lot of YouTubers, they want their videos to stand out. So they have a little intro with a logo and some flames and some music or some special effects. And at the end of the video, they have an outro, which is the ending of the video. So there are lots of software out there and apps out there which allow you to make those intros and then sell them to people. So even a
True.
small thing like that can be a very lucrative side business or side career for you. So for those people out there who are desperate right now, they need jobs or they need some extra money, I think this is a great opportunity. Okay, now coming back to one of my interests.
Oh, before we wrap this up, can you name a few platforms? I know Fiverr is something that
Exactly,
works
Fiverr is
with
one.
this. So can you name some of the good platforms that you had a good
Sure,
experience with?
sure. So I have worked on Fiverr and I've worked on Upwork, and they
Hmm.
are both very good platforms. They're both very professional. Just one thing to keep in mind. There's also, I think, elancer or freelancer.com. So the one thing to keep in mind is that these platforms, while they provide you a lot of good services, for example, they will provide you a huge marketplace where you can connect with the buyer. You can connect with buyers from all over the world. A lot of my clients are from USA, from UK, Canada, even Middle East. They will do that for a small fee. So, for example, if you are getting $100 worth of an order, so they will take 20% of that as their cut or their fee. But on the other hand, if you're working on Fiverr or Upwork, you can be assured that there'll be no risk of the buyer not paying you, for example. So if you're selling something and they're buying something, so Fiverr and Upwork, they behave as a middleman, which will ensure that you and your buyer are both protected by in terms of money. So if they have paid money to Fiverr, the money will come to you no matter what. So yeah, these are a few things to keep in mind. And if anyone who's watching this video wants to learn more about these platforms, they're most welcome to contact me and ask me some questions about it, and I'll give them some advice. Okay. Uh, Also, just to let you know, Fiverr and Upwork have got some saturation now in terms of certain areas. So, for example, if you want to open an account in Fiverr and you want to be, let's say, selling articles, or you want to sell something that's very common already, they might not let you. So, you have to find a niche where there's still some scope for expansion. So, just keep that in mind.
Hmm. Cool. So, Saad, uh, one of the things that you're very passionate about is traveling, if I remember right. And you just
Yeah.
mentioned in the beginning that you wanted to talk about as well.
Yeah.
What is the impact of COVID on traveling? And let's call it tourism, because you love
Mm,
to travel because you love to tour places
mm,
internationally as well as in
mm,
Pakistan. What do you think
yeah.
will happen, and what do you think is the time frame when it will neutralize? Will it be normal ever again, or will it become normal like in a year or so?
So to answer that, the first thing to think about is about COVID-19, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the articles that I'm reading and the opinions that I'm hearing from the actual experts, the epidemiologists and the statisticians who work in this field, they are saying that COVID-19 is here to stay, which means it won't be going away in the next 1 or 2 years. Firstly, just a vaccine development might take at least 18 months. So that means that until next 18 months, we are going to see wave upon wave of COVID-19 epidemics coming and going, right? Like example, in Pakistan, we might have one wave which will finish, let's say, by August or September. And then there might be another wave in November and December. I'm just saying. So that means that people will be getting infected, people will be scared to leave the house. And already you can see that the shares prices of a lot of international airlines, they have fallen a lot. There is a person who I respect greatly. He's an investor called Warren Buffett.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Warren Buffett and his company, Berkshire Hathaway, they have recently sold off a huge chunk, whatever holdings they had of some airlines. I think it was Delta Airlines. I could be wrong, but they've sold that off. Now, Warren Buffett is quite famous in the world for his insight into what's happening in the future. So he is able to tell what is going to happen, and then he's able to predict to some extent what will happen, and he sells the shares or he buys the shares accordingly. So going by the trends because we're seeing today, airlines are struggling to fill the seats, right? People are now only going to do essential travel, which means like business travel or travel for work, or maybe emergencies like, someone's family might be sick or injured or somebody's giving birth. So they'll travel to be there for them. But in terms of tourism, I think at least in the international airlines is going to be very bad, and maybe it will be bad for the next 1 to 2 years. One indication is that a lot of uh, airlines have cancelled their airplane orders. So Boeing and Airbus, they are the two major airplane manufacturers. They have unfortunately had huge cancellations. And what this means is that, like let's say Emirates had ordered some A380s and they've cancelled that. So what that means is that those airliners which were already being made, they have gone into, let's say, a freeze. Now, already we've seen images on the internet of airports with the runways completely full of planes, and there's no way for them to take off.
Yep.
Uh, so what this means is, I think, number one, tickets are going to be very expensive. It's no longer going to be cheap to travel by air. Number two, it means that the good news is that oil prices are very low. So if airlines do fly, at least the aspect that portion of the airline ticket which was from the jet fuel, that will be quite low. So that's good news. However, airlines will probably have to do COVID-19 testing or screening of passengers before they take off. So you can be prepared for long lines and long waits at the airport before you can take off. Airlines will probably have to impose social distancing on the plane. So if you do fly, you'll have to leave 1 or 2 seats next to you, totally empty, so that there's some social distancing. So all of these things have to be taken into account. And that what that means is that airlines are either going to charge you extra for your ticket, or they're going to fly at a loss. And I don't think airlines are that generous that they're going to fly at a loss. So this all comes down to the conclusion, which is I don't see international air travel bouncing back from this very soon. It might take 2 years or longer for it to recover, and people will feel comfortable flying again after they've been vaccinated, or after the threat of infection has gone down. But now here are the opportunities. So basically, everything which has everything has a silver lining. So in this case, I would say that people might prefer to travel more locally, in Pakistan, for example. people might prefer to take their car out and go for a drive to, let's say, northern areas
Mhm.
or historical sites. So, for example, I personally would love to visit Mohenjo-daro, which is this historic site in Sindh. Can you believe I've never been there? I lived in Karachi most of my life, but I've never been there. I've been to Harappa, which is also an amazing site, and that's in Punjab, so that's close to where you live. But I've never been to Mohenjo-daro. And I mean, there's so many beautiful places which you can go to, and hopefully it won't be as crowded as maybe some of the more popular places in Pakistan internationally. So yeah, there's this one positive I see, the silver lining. People will use their own cars and they'll go places nearby, and they'll rediscover places that are local. So that's good news. And so yeah, from travel point of view, that's pretty much it. I don't see any silver lining besides that. And so many, I'm kind of sad to think about it. It's so many shops and so many souvenir shops and so many hotels. They depend on tourists, and now the poor people are going to have no money, no income from those tourists anymore, and they'll probably have to, find either new jobs or start some other kind of business. So yeah, I feel really sad for them.
So, Saad,
Uh,
thank you so much for your time, sir, for your reflections, for your wisdom, I would say. And it's always a pleasure, like I told you. I
Always a
hope
pleasure,
to see you
Faizan.
again when I'm back. And all the best with whatever you're doing, Saad.
Thank you so much, Faizan. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful
Okay.
rest of your day. Bye bye.